Hey there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
courts hide ICE lawyers' names in removal cases citing safety concerns. New policy eliminates bail hearings for immigrants in removal proceedings. Nursing homes face staff shortages as foreign workers lose legal status. U.S. Army veteran claims rights violated in cannabis farm immigration raid. Supreme Court ruling allows deportations to third countries, starting with Eswatini.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week, right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
in the New York immigration courts, judges have decided not to reveal the names of the immigration lawyers who represent the government in deportation cases, arguing privacy concerns and noting that the situation has recently changed. During hearings in Lower Manhattan, judges avoided identifying the government lawyers, although they did mention the names of immigrants and their legal representatives, a decision that legal experts consider unusual and alarming. This measure took defense attorneys by surprise, who called it strange and a serious lack of transparency, since specialists warn that it hinders accountability for potential unethical conduct and can give the impression that judges favor the government. Judge Shirley Lazar Raphael clarified that this practice is not supported by any official guidelines, and that each judge decides whether or not to reveal the names of government lawyers, while some prosecutors claim that they fear for their safety by making their names public due to the increase in reports of assaults against officials.
And next up, for update number 2.
The Trump administration has announced that immigrants who entered the United States illegally will no longer be able to request bail hearings while facing deportation proceedings, according to a memo issued on July 8 by the acting director of ICE. This measure will force millions of immigrants to remain in custody throughout the expulsion process, which can last for months or even years, as immigration officers, and not judges, will now decide on their release. This policy shift comes after Congress approved $45 billion in funding for the next 4 years, with the goal of doubling immigrant detention capacity to 100,000 people per day. Immigration lawyers report that bail hearings have already been denied in more than a dozen courts nationwide. Legal specialists anticipate that this policy will be challenged in court for potential due process violations, as it expands detention criteria, which previously only applied to those who recently crossed the border, to also include long-term residents with U.S. citizen children and legal reasons to fight their deportation.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Nursing homes already struggling to recruit staff now face President Trump's attack on immigration, one of their few reliable sources of workers. Facilities report losing employees whose legal status was revoked. 8 workers at AG Rhodes in Atlanta will leave after TPS revocation. Impossible to replace, says CEO Deke Cateau. More than a quarter of 4 million care aides are foreign-born, and 820,000 new positions are projected by 2032. Employees are quitting due to fear of raids, while applications decline. Sinai Residences in Florida lost 10 workers and expects to lose 30 more when Haitian TPS ends. Americans are not attracted to these positions, says CEO Rachel Blumberg. Americans are not attracted to these positions, says CEO Rachel Blumberg.
And moving right along, update number 4.
George Redes, an Army veteran with 25 years of service, disabled, and a U.S. citizen, was arrested during an immigration operation at a cannabis farm in Ventura County. He claims his detention represented a violation of his civil rights. Redes was working as a security guard at Glasshouse Farms in Camarillo and was taken into federal custody on July 10 during a large immigration enforcement operation. Redes recounted that he was sprayed with pepper spray and tear gas, that agents broke his car window and forcibly removed him, despite him identifying himself as a U.S. citizen. According to his testimony, he was held for 3 days without charges or access to a phone call or legal assistance. Redes claims he was never informed of the reason for his arrest nor received medical attention, despite exposure to tear gas.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
An airplane with immigrants deported from the United States landed in Eswatini after the Supreme Court removed restrictions on deporting immigrants to third countries, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin mentioned 5 deported individuals from Vietnam, Jamaica, Laos, Cuba, and Yemen. The Supreme Court's ruling at the end of June allowed the Trump administration to resume deporting immigrants to countries other than their own, without giving them the opportunity to demonstrate the risks they might face. On the 4th of July, the United States completed the deportation of 8 more immigrants to South Sudan, a conflict-affected country who had been on a flight in May that was diverted to a base in Djibouti, where they remained held in a converted shipping container.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.